2026. I know it's still kind of weird to say it, but as we head into the new year, I know something all parents and kids are thinking, how do we get better this year? Well, more ice time sounds great, but between school, family time, and just being a kid, it's not always realistic, right? So what really helps young players grow is hockey IQ, learning how to read the game, make confident decisions, and understand why things happen on the ice. And that's where our title sponsor, NHL Sense Arena, continues to come through. Sense Arena uses VR and mixed reality training to help players work on the mental side of hockey. It gives kids meaningful reps, helping them build confidence, awareness, and strong habits at their own pace. So for skaters, that means better reads and puck control, and for goalies, faster reactions and improved tracking. And for coaches and parents, it means purposeful development that supports what's being taught at the rink. So to get started with our special offer, visit sensearena.com/OKPH and use the code OKPH to save an extra $25 off an annual plan or headset bundle if you need one. Once again, that's sensearena.com/OKPH. Use the code OKPH. Get yourself that discount. That's 50% off the standard monthly cost, plus an additional $25 when you use the code OKPH. Welcome to 2026. Let's get you into this episode right now. Hello, hockey skaters and goalies around the world, and welcome back to another edition of the Ride to the Rink. It's Lee and Mike here today, and we brought our great friend on, Matt Dumouchelle. Matt has traveled the world far and wide, countries. He's looked at hockey organizations around the world to see what they do well, what they don't do well. He's done a great job with a series called Hockey Factories. So, kids, he really knows what he's talking about in terms of what he's seen around the world with hockey development. And one of the questions that we talk about with him is how in largely the United States and Canada, we like to use the word identify. We identify young kids as super talented, super skilled, and we pluck them and we put them in development programs. Now, some of you may be aware of that. Some of you might not. I know what you're thinking is, well, how do I become one of those kids? I want to be great. I want to be plucked. And what we want to talk about is whether you are or not, there's a process that you've got to follow as a hockey player to develop yourself. And just being plucked at 10, 12, 14 years old, while it is an accomplishment in some ways, it's not the end of anything for you if you're passionate and want to pursue the sport. So, Matt, I'm going to throw it to you in terms of that topic, but also how you've seen in other countries that is actually not the case, right? That development is well-rounded, and that if you want to be great at hockey, there's a commitment that has to be taken place there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see that in the European model just from the thinking that they've got a longer runway in what their development model looks like. You know, they introduce cutting players for specialized teams in some countries. At U14, U15 is the first time they have assembled teams that go above and beyond whatever regular model it is that they're developing. You know, the key to a European country that's a lot smaller than we are in Canada, you in the US, is they have to develop everybody. That's part of their mantra and their formula, because just like anything else, when you take the funnel and you put 100 kids in it, you're going to lose kids. They're going to drop off, lose interest, whatever it is. You're not going to have 100 that fall right out the bottom. What you're looking at the end of the day are things that you can always control. You can always control your work ethic. You can always control your attitude. You can always control your energy. Are you a good teammate? Are you somebody that people want to be around? You know, those are characteristics that will ride you from 11 to 100, let alone 11 to 30, 40, the lifespan of a hockey player. So when you get an opportunity to try out for some of these teams at some of these young ages, you know, at 10, 11, 8, you know, whatever that looks like, if you don't make those teams, we're doing a poor job here of letting families and parents know that that's not the end of the road. You know, there's so much more of a runway that you have here that we don't talk about, where you have the ability to add additional skills. You have things where we can work on different aspects of your game throughout the year. But at the end of the day, what we talk about, or what we hear when we talk about the best players in the world, is the consistency. They're still there. They're always working. They're always trying to get better. And that will outlast anything in any corporation or any organization as a whole. You don't have to be the best 11-year-old player, because the likelihood that you're the best 11-year-old player and 25-year-old player is almost impossible.
Matt, I think what I'd love to hear, just because based off of your research and the stuff that you've done as far as it really going in depth in youth hockey development and watching players perform in all these different countries and organizations, you talk a little bit to our players about, you don't always have to be the same player every year. Like, you're going to evolve in different ways. Like, your role and what you're good at and what you're not good at, or what you're strong and what you're not strong at, is always going to change. I think to embrace that opportunity to kind of, reinvent yourself depending on, what team you're on. And we talked a little bit about it in the main episode that, when you pick an Olympic team, for instance, you're not picking just, 1 to 15 of the best players. You're picking a team. So talk a little bit about, what you've seen in your process of evaluating and looking at talent, how that talent has to evolve depending on, like a chameleon, what environment you're placed in.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much to learn from the idea of playing for different coaches or playing different positions, even when you're younger, as far as developing hockey IQ. I think the best way that you can learn as a left winger what the defenseman is thinking is to play defenseman, see what they see. Then, when you're playing left wing, hey, I'm against the boards here, he can't get the puck to me. Instead of saying, well, how could he not get the puck to me? Well, now you've seen it. Now you say, oh, that's tight. He can't get that past me. You've learned from doing it. You've seen it yourself. We see that in some European clubs that I've looked at and hear about in different areas, right? Jokerit in Finland always talked about, when I had a chance to feature them, first year that they have kids in their program, they're talking about playing offense with the puck. The next year, they're talking about playing offense without the puck. Then they're playing defending the puck carrier. Then they're talking about defending the person that doesn't have the puck, that's trying to get open or create time and space for the person that has it. All 4 of those skills are taught in 4 separate years, but they're all going to be valuable skills if down the road you end up being lucky enough to play junior hockey or professional hockey at some level. We all know players, and we see it in the draft every year. We love analyzing NHL drafts or NFL drafts or all of these things. How many 120-point CHL players have you seen that don't make it anywhere as far as getting it to the NHL level because they can score? They got the best shot you've ever seen, but they can't back check, or they don't know, their goalie's got to wear a name tag because they don't know how to go play back in the defensive end. If you get a chance to round yourself out as a player, an exceeding individual skill will never trump an overall player. It will just never happen. It'll be a piece. There's no question about it. You ask any NHL team, we'd all love to have a 40-goal scorer on the roster. But is the 40-goal scorer going to win, end of the day, going to be the reason you win the Stanley Cup? Go back through some of the last Stanley Cup champions. It's just not.
I love it, Matt. And, for the kids listening too, just to add on to that, if you want to be the best, right? We use those words. You want to be better. You want to be good. Wherever on the chart it is that you want to get to, there's no way to get there without putting the work in. Mm-hmm. There's no way, right? I know there are kids with some really raw hockey talent. You're born with it, right? You may be listening. I'm telling you, first off, that's wonderful. It's not enough. Mm-hmm. I have seen in my coaching and playing years, I've seen so many kids when I was younger that did not look like they fit in, and they outworked everyone. And by the end of the journey, they were one of the top players on their team, or one of the most, effective players on the team. There is just nothing that you can put aside that's going to make hard work not the answer for you to get in better. And then the other half of this, kids, we're really privileged to have people like Matt on. We have a lot of NHL players on. I don't know any NHL player that's not obsessed with learning. Mm-hmm. Finding any edge they can possibly find to learn to get better. And at their level, not that I'm comparing you with NHL players, I'm talking about their pursuit of knowledge. At their level, there's not much more to learn in the sense of they have most of the top skill sets. They're in the minutia, the smallest itty bits of knowledge, and they are relentless in trying to find that. You can do that at a young age. You can learn that now. You don't have to wait till that's not till you're 16. You can do that at 8. You can do it at 10. if you're listening to the show, you are doing it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay?
And you know, it doesn't have to be reels on YouTube or Instagram or something like that, because you're not going to see, you know, the hard work of a guy back checking and that there's no highlights for that. You know, to talk a different sport real quick, I did some reading on Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback at Indiana. Everybody's in love with the Indiana Hoosiers football program right now. What an incredibly well-spoken kid that, you know, you really hope gets the best out of the talent that he has. He was a 4th string quarterback in high school. He transferred went to UCLA because he was a COVID kid. He was a 2.5-star recruit. He got one offer. He went to Cal. He goes through. He gets to Indiana. He just won the Heisman. He might go first overall in the draft. Lord knows where it's coming. But if you told that kid that was the 4th string quarterback in high school he was going to win the Heisman, you'd have to also tell him to wake up, because he'd probably be dreaming. But It's a reality. It happens all the time. So it's not about the year that you're in right now. It's about the progression of the time that you have playing youth hockey. And like you said, Lee, the best way to do that is to learn, is to watch others, is to get better, to educate yourself. And all of that comes from within.
I love it, Matt. Kids, that's a lot of golden nuggets in this episode for you. Make sure you take them and apply them. You can do this. I say it every episode. Remember, wherever you're at on your hockey journey, we believe in you. You should too. It's got to come from you. For Mike and Matt, I'm Lee. We'll see you on the next Ride to the Rink. Take care, kids.